I should give credit where credit's due. At least one pig, I think it was one pig, helped me with this. And that's why the water was still coming so far. Yesterday I was going along here and I realized, I was in denial at first, I realized that one of my pigs had been rooting along this. But then I realized, no, that's a good thing because he was rooting on the upper side. That's what they tend to do, and loosen that ground enough that I could pull it down to the breast, which I did yesterday from about here on. And but I had not done it down there, and I just finished up that work that the pig had done, and I got this far, and you can see I've got a supply of water that should, even though it's a sunny hot day, that should reach the aqueduct. And who knows what I'll run into on up. But anyway, I want to credit the work of that pig. This is that yellow bucket sighting, which you can't see because of the leaves now. The pig even came along here, and I saw that. I could hardly believe it. Wouldn't it have been a shame if one of my pigs had fallen to his death while maintaining my Bisse? But it didn't happen. I'm going to end up putting a rope here. Probably, I keep thinking about it, but I think I'll do it soon. Because walking along here, if you fell to the right, you could die easily. An old guy like me certainly could. So for about 40 feet here from the tree right behind me to that one and over to that one, I'll start by putting a rope, and I may ultimately build a little wooden trough to go around that really little tree here. I don't know about that, but I'm going to continue on. I'm just cleaning a little bit now. Yesterday, after the pig had been here, he'd spent some time rooting, he or she. You can see that I'm still losing water here, not very much. I'm losing some there. That's where it's coming out and coming out. And where it's starting is probably here, but not in obvious enough ways for me to simply plug the hole. However, I will line it. I brought material up here to do that. And I've also got leakage. This is Grandpa Jim Bisse, incidentally. I've also got leakage up a little ways. That's maybe where I'll start with that liner, that pallet wrap liner. See, I'm looking for those little, here's a spot that is pretty clearly leaking. I'll fix that now before I go on. But no real big obvious whirlpools. And you can see, now I've tried to wiggle those rocks free. They're pretty big rocks right there. And this is clay, that yellow is clay. And what I'll do is I'll try to work right along that upper edge with the liner. That's going to be a new experience. We'll see how that goes. But you see, I'm losing a lot of water, and that's enough water. If I didn't lose it all, which I'd always want to leave some water certainly in the natural drain. But if I had half of that, it would be enough to irrigate that entire hilltop all the way to the aqueduct and beyond and around it. However, this does go dry. In a really dry summer, it goes down to just nothing but a trickle. Now, when I go up to the new Bisse start, I'm not going to bushwhack through that again. What I'm going to do, and here's where I said I'd like to see a waterfall, have a waterfall. What I'm going to do is I'll go up there and I'll walk along a route that I think is about where the Bisse will go. And that way I won't be able to have to walk through all that brush and stuff. There, I stuffed a bunch of that bale wrap. Now, that's bunker cover, that white plastic that's white on one side and black on the other, thick. This is bale wrap, and it's thin and flexible, and I stuffed it in that hole. I think I'll always think of a guy plugging a leak in a tubeless tire. When I do that, you put a hole in there and just stuff a plug in and it stays. So there's a supply that I kind of have available, and I'm probably going to have more of it now. But I like this solution for temporarily plugging holes. One last look for little whirlpools. And I don't see any, so I'm going to head on up to the source of the new Bisse. So how much higher in elevation will I be able to bring water? Where I'm standing? Oh, I think so. Down there's where I just plugged that hole. And this would be the top of the waterfall. I think so. As I look out across there, I think I can get this high. Could I get higher yet? I don't know. But I can drive my truck, or you could drive a car this far, right down into there. It would be possible to have wheeled access to this far. I see ferns there. There's a natural wet spot. It's going to be so interesting. Working my way along, I've come to that washout that I pointed out yesterday, or in the last video when I was walking along down there at the bottom. You know, you can see there's not even any leaf litter. This really gets washed out hard. Well, of course, a Bisse going across that will catch it all and send it across the hillside. This is so much easier walking. I'll establish a path eventually so I can have easy access to the source. That's where I've come from. And here I've come to another washout, but it's got water running in it, which is interesting. And well, of course, the Bisse will cross this as well. Hear that bird? The source is right up in there somewhere. There's the source. You might be able to see that piece of cloth. And I'm going right there to play a little bit. I paused here, well, for a couple of reasons. One, to show you how much water is available up here. And that almost looks as if somebody at some point, might have been me, stacked stones there to dam it. But it was more to show you this tree that I went by. That's got a story to tell. I think it's a beech. If I look up, it'll be straight into the sun. So of course, I'll do everything I can to protect that. It's got a story to tell, yep. And there's barberry. That's also got a story to tell. Usually you don't see barberry except where people have been active. Anyway, we're going over there. So, how to go about this? Well, I brought a piece of that pallet wrap that is impervious, and I brought a tool. I brought a hoe, a homemade hoe. So I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to start to play, and then I'll film what I've done from here in a bit. Well, I've started. You can see this, and is there logic to it? I think so. Any rocks that I can get at the cutting edge, let me say, at the flowing edge, I with my hands, I throw to the right. And here I've come to the, and I found that I went through some gravel that is hoeable. I brought my hoe, and I hoed a little bit right there. And here's the first of the washouts coming down through. That's for probably when that bridge has blocked or something, I don't know. But so I'll go across that and it will pick up water when the time's right. So I think I've got to start. I'm going to continue. There's lots of water going underneath it and coming out, which is just fine. But what gets onto the pallet wrap pretty much is staying on it and coming out here. I think I'm going to quit for today because I need that bar to go out there. But this will probably be one of the trickiest spots the whole way along the Bisse. But I have all this stone that I can lay up a nice wall now that I see where the water's going to go. So, let me get one more. I think it was about here that I was standing. I pulled the cloth out. I'm not going to use it for the time being. I'll let it dry out and maybe cut it in thirds, long ways, rip it. I've started the new Bisse. Pretty good start. It's always a little messy at the start. But I'm going to stop. I'll tell you why. I maybe could go on, but I need an iron bar. I need a digging bar now because I've hit stones that I can't wiggle loose with my hands. Everything there I've just done with my hands or with the hoe. But I am going to experiment with laying down that pallet wrap and see what that's like. And the next time I'm back here, I'll have an iron digging bar, and then I can head on out. It's so much fun. I mean, I could imagine if somebody saw this video and said, I want to do that too, I'd understand. And I said, well, come along. I'll tell you when I'll be doing it, and we'll play. As I'm leaving and heading for the road, which is right up there, I came to the log drag again, the skidder track, and I see how it's gathered water. And I remember developing a Bisse here, starting to, because it did automatically anyway, and I might again, but it doesn't have a permanent flow. Well, the skidder up there is where he deserted the road, which we found out was called the tram road. I'm now on my sister and brother-in-law's property. They wouldn't mind, and that, I guess, is a, what do they call it, something, game camera. I guess that's what that is. So I've been filmed the whole way along. Oh, I see they're using this. They're even using that bridge. Lovely, lovely. So I'm going to follow the tram road back down. Mostly it's just barely on their property, but within 50, 100 feet, it's maybe 20 yards. It's on ours, and you see there's water running in this. That you saw lower down. There's so much to be told about this area, but I haven't been up here much since they divided the property. We get along just fine, but still I've had so much to do down there. The tram road.